this land, even here, underneath the beautiful footprint center, all of Phoenix was our traditional land. This is unprecedented. This is historic to have a major sports franchise like the Phoenix Suns to recognize the first peoples, the indigenous peoples here of Arizona.
Today we got an exciting one. As you guys know, I'm a big Phoenix Suns fan. I rode with the Phoenix Suns in a lot of different projects. Well, today they hit me up for another one. They just unveiled their brand new City Edition jerseys and they're freaking sick. They got away from the orange and purple, and I personally like it. The teal and the red really pop. It's inspired by the 22 indigenous tribes here in Arizona. Throughout this video, I'll be showing you guys all the small details on this jersey. Right now, we got a lot of work ahead of us on these black military fours. So, let's get started. First things first, we're gonna take out our laces. The insoles are already out. I sent those to my boy D-Nice Customs to customize. We'll get those back later. We're also gonna go in and go straight to deconstruction mode. We're gonna take off the tongue tags and the wings. Got the wings off and the tongue tags. We'll come back to these later. Now our next focus is the white stitching on the toe caps. We're gonna pull that out using this pick. Again, we'll explain this later on in this video. Deconstruction is complete. Now we're on to some prep work. We're gonna use acetone and cotton balls to wipe off all the factory finish on the white leather. Prep work's good to go on these shoes. We hit the entire leather and the midsoles using acetone. Now we're gonna go ahead and dye both of these sneakers using some dye. We're gonna be mixing up some Rit Dye Kentucky Sky Blue and Tropical Teal. We're gonna be using 60% blue, 40% tropical teal in this big tank of water that's already heated up. Let's grab our tank of water and start testing. We're gonna be using some netting that belongs to some old Jordan 4s. These are gonna be our test samples to make sure we get the right color. Should have worn a muscle shirt for this. I don't get dye on my sleeves. Let's do the first test. Check it out. After about 6 different tries, we finally got the perfect match. These are a little bit too teal or too dark. This one I think is the perfect match. Now let's dye these shoes. Ooh. Good to go dyeing the shoes. Right now they're drying. Now we're on to our second tank of water. We got our bucket heater right now heating up the water. It is sizzling. Right now we're gonna pull it out and start mixing our dyes. We got our orange and red. We're gonna mix it to create a nice vibrant red. We got all of the wings right here. That's the reason why we took them off, so we could dye them separately. Before we dye the wings, we're gonna test it out with this rubber swoosh. Good to go. I think we got the perfect red color. Let's dunk in our wings. These look great. All right, you guys, we're all done with the red dye. We'll come back to the wings in just a bit. The shoes are fully dried, and these are the results. I'm happy with the suede, the rubber, the Jumpman in the back. It turned out great. Same thing with the air unit. It got a nice tint. Those are basically the areas that I needed tinted thanks to the blue dye. Everything else is gonna get painted. So the next step is to lay down our turquoise paint. We're gonna lay it down using an angular brush. The only areas I'm gonna hit right now is the leather. blue paint job is good to go. This custom is starting to take shape. We still need the top half to go, but we'll come back to that later. The next focus is the midsole, but we gotta do some taping first. Easy does it. Now that we're all taped up, let's lay down our paint. The first color we're gonna lay down is the white using our airbrush. White paint job is good to go. We got it nice and buttery smooth. I also went ahead and taped off the bottom portion because our only focus is the top half. Off camera, I went ahead and got started on the paint job. This is one of the most detailed paint jobs I've done in a long time. We started off with the black, blue, white, red, and I finished it off with some arrowheads. The first 4 colors of the midsole are directly from the numbers of the jersey. The bottom 2 colors are from the shorts. I also went ahead and added arrowheads all around the midsole. Each arrowhead represents each tribe of Arizona. The first 4 colors are directly from the jersey numbers. The bottom 2 colors are from the shorts. Same thing with the arrowheads all around the shoe. Now to recreate that paint job on this shoe, we're gonna need a bunch of vinyl strips that I already cut out. We're gonna start off by laying them all down. We're gonna need 5 rows. Got all the vinyl laid down and the tape. In order to lay down our first color, which is black, we gotta remove the bottom strip of vinyl. Good to go with the first color. The black came out super sharp. Using vinyl on this midsole creates the sharpest lines possible. Now the next step we're gonna do is grab another piece of vinyl, cover up the black so we can move on to the blue. Three colors down, luckily the white was already there for us. Now we're gonna tape off everything, white, blue, and black so we can lay down our red. Red paint looks great. It's gonna match the red dye wing perfectly. Now we're gonna tape that off so we can lay down our yellow. But first, we're gonna lay down a white base coat so the yellow pops. Stripe paint job is good to go. I love how it looks. It's nice and consistent, and honestly, it wasn't too hard. Now we gotta add one more detail, and that's on the black and blue stripes. We're gonna add 11 arrowheads. First, we're gonna lay it down to see how it's gonna look. Once it's in place, we're gonna lay down the other piece of the vinyl that we actually need before we lay down the paint. Arrowhead stencils are laid down. We're gonna lay down a white base coat before we lay down our cream paint. Paint job is almost complete, you guys. The arrowheads are a nice touch. Now we're gonna tape off everything but this bottom lip so we can lay down some red. Midsole is complete, you guys. It's looking sick, but we still got this small piece to go. Now we're gonna tape around it so we can start cutting out some stencils. Got the stencils fully cut out and the shoe taped up. The stencil that we're gonna be laying down is a triangle pattern. This is the exact pattern that's on the shorts of the Phoenix Suns uniform. All done with the midsole, you guys. I'm gonna come back to some touch-ups later on in this video. The next step is the toe caps. Before I dyed the shoes, I took out the stitching just because I didn't want to dye it. I ended up dyeing this separately with some red dye. Now it's time to put it back in using a sewing awl. Got the stitching back onto the toe cap. It's a nice touch. Now we're on to the uppers. Off camera, I got ahead of myself and started laying down the stencils. We're gonna lay down a step pattern all around the blue. It's gonna be really time consuming and tricky because we gotta lay down 2 different colors, do some taping in between. Let's just get it started. So we got our stencils right here. What we're gonna do is go in, place it where the stencil is. Once I get it aligned properly, we're gonna take this piece off. This is the part that we wanna keep on. We'll tape around it and lay down our paint. All the stencils are fully laid down. We got the shoe all taped up. Let's lay down some paint. Before we do so, we're gonna heat it up so the stencils are laid down nice and flat so we don't get any overspray. And we're gonna be focusing on each stencil one by one as we go around all the shoe. Alright guys, we got the wings sewn back onto the shoes. We're on to the final touch before we lace them up, these tongue tags. Shout out to my boy D-Nice Customs. We got the brand new Suns logo right here. That's gonna go on the tongue. What I gotta do first is grab our Dremel. Where the tongue tag's gonna go, we're gonna Dremel it to get it prepped. These are looking sick, you guys. The last step we gotta do is heat up the patches, stick them on so we can lace them up. Alright guys, that is gonna bring us to an end on these custom Phoenix Suns City Edition Air Jordan 4s. We took a regular all-white black military Jordan 4 and turned it into this. I kid you not, you guys, these shoes took so long. I haven't slept in the last 48 hours, you guys. Today is my deadline. Right after this video, I gotta go straight to the Suns Arena and drop these off. As far as the details, you guys, there was a lot of work that went into them. It started off with the sketchy tank of Rit Dye. Whenever I use Rit Dye, I never know how it's gonna go. Luckily, it worked out. We got a nice blue tone. After that, it was just a bunch of painting and a lot of things that I've never done before, such as removing the wings. I removed the wings, dyed them separately. That's something that I would never paint because the paint comes right off the rubber. Same thing with the netting. With this shoe, I kept everything in mind. These shoes are gonna be worn, so I wanna make sure they're gonna be fully wearable. All the details on this shoe are directly inspired from the new Phoenix Suns jerseys. These are inspired by the Native American side of Arizona. There's 22 different tribes here in AZ. On the side, there is 22 different ways on how to spell and say the word sun, so I had to incorporate that on the insoles. Big shout out to my boy D-Nice Customs. The Phoenix Suns also incorporated a new logo with a bunch of feathers all around. Nice little detail. On the side, we got our step pattern. That's something we included all around the shoe. That by far was the hardest part to do. So detailed, skinny lines that wrap all around the shoe. Luckily, we made it work. On the number, you guys, we got the yellow, red, white, and blue. That went on the midsole, another time-consuming part. Getting straight, consistent lines all around 4 different times. You guys, so much vinyl and so much time went into these shoes, but I'm happy with how it looks. We also laser engraved the wing. That's something I've never done before. Since I took it off, I said, why not laser engrave it? A couple details that the Rit Dye did. It dyed the suede a nice blue tone that almost matches the jerseys. Same thing with the netting. When it comes to netting, you can't paint that. The paint comes right off, but if you dye using Rit Dye, it's permanent and it's gonna be on there forever. Added some nice red and black Union laces. Shout out to Foxtrot Uniform. And lastly, you guys, on the midsoles, on the bottom 2 rows, we added 11 arrowheads that wrap all around the midsole. On both shoes, it equals 22. Each arrowhead represents each tribe here in Arizona. The Suns did an amazing job with these new designs. They got away from the classic orange and purple and did something with blue. The storytelling behind these jerseys is everything, you guys. The details really speak to me. I'm glad I was able to do something for the Phoenix Suns once again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I gotta go get some sleep and drop off these customs. Catch you guys next Monday. See you guys.